Welcome to this web series, The Frugal Mindset, also known as Money and the Responsible Christian. This is the 7th topic in our Perspective series, and we're going to talk about greed.
Money. Money makes the world go around, the world go around, the world go around. Money makes the world go around, it makes the world go round.
That clip was from a Broadway musical and movie called Cabaret. The clip was called Money, Money, starring Liza Minnelli and Joel Grey. I think that clip did a good job summarizing how money works, unfortunately, in our world today and how our world feels about money. It makes the world go round. Now let me ask you a question. What is greed? What is greed? I think greed is something that's very easy to recognize in others and sometimes hard to acknowledge and recognize in ourselves. Now I'm going to review with you 3 Bible passages that talk about greed and God's attitude towards greed. Let's start with Luke chapter 12, verses 13 through 20. Someone in the crowd said to him, "Teacher, tell my brother to divide the inheritance with me." Jesus replied, "Man, who appointed me a judge or an arbiter between you?" Then he said to them, "Watch out. Be on your guard against all kinds of greed. Life does not consist in an abundance of possessions." Then let's look at James chapter 5, verses 1 through 6. "Now listen, you rich people, weep and wail because of the misery that is coming on you. Your wealth has rotted, and moths have eaten your clothes. Your gold and silver are corroded. Their corrosion will testify against you and eat your flesh like fire. You have hoarded wealth in the last days. Look, the wages you failed to pay the workers who mowed your fields are crying out against you. The cries of the harvesters have reached the ears of the Lord Almighty. You have lived on the earth in luxury and self-indulgence. You have fattened yourselves in the day of slaughter. You have condemned and murdered the innocent one who was not opposing you." Finally, let's look at 1 Timothy chapter 6, verses 9 and 10. "But those who desire to be rich fall into temptation and a snare, and into many foolish and harmful lusts, which drown men in destruction and perdition. For the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil, for which some have strayed from the faith in their greediness and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. For the love of money is a root of all kinds of evil." Now, what does our culture say about greed?
Your company, ladies and gentlemen, is under siege from Gordon Gekko. Teldar paper is now leveraged to the hilt like some piss-poor South American country. I strongly recommend you to see through Mr. Gekko's shameless intention here to strip this company and severely penalize the stockholders.
In the last 7 deals that I've been involved with, there were 2.5 million stockholders who have made a pre-tax profit of $12 billion. Thank you. I am not a destroyer of companies. I am a liberator of them. The point is, ladies and gentlemen, that greed, for lack of a better word, is good. Greed is right. Greed works. Greed clarifies, cuts through, and captures the essence of the evolutionary spirit. Greed in all of its forms. Greed for life, for money, for love, knowledge, has marked the upward surge of mankind. Thank you very much.
That is a clip from the movie Wall Street. The character Gordon Gekko speaking. He says, "Greed is good." Oliver Stone, the movie director, was never one known for subtlety, and he had intended that character to be a negative stereotype and caricature of what was wrong with the greed on Wall Street. Unfortunately, however, that character inspired a whole generation of young Americans to become stockbrokers. Let's look for a minute at God's economy. As I quoted to you several times, My pastor buddy in Montana would always say, God's economy is different. I am not promising you folks that if you follow my suggestions in this webinar that you will become financially rich. Indeed, this isn't a get rich quick seminar. This isn't even a get rich slow seminar. However, I will say this, that if you have a proper heart attitude about money and adopt responsible financial habits such as those discussed in the frugal mindset section of this webinar, you may, if it's God's will, become wealthy. You may, if it's God's will. But I will tell you this, if it is your goal to become rich, and you're a Christian, I do not believe you will ever be rich. Let me say that again. If it is your goal to become rich financially, and you are a Christian, I do not believe you will ever be rich. Why? Because God loves you. God indeed has a different economy. I want to look at one more Bible passage. This is out of the book of Proverbs, chapter 28, verse 20. A faithful person will be richly blessed, but one eager to get rich will not go unpunished. Let me read that one again. A faithful person will be richly blessed, but one eager to get rich will not go unpunished. Wait a minute, you might say. First of all, I talked about wealth being a blessing from God. I had a whole section on that. Then I talked about the warnings about riches, and I talked about consumerism, and now I'm talking about greed. Which isn't? Aren't those all inconsistent? I don't think they're inconsistent at all. It's not about what you have. It's about what has your heart. It's not about what you have. It's about what or who has your heart. Our next topic is going to be the prosperity gospel. Thanks for listening.